Welcome back. Welcome to our second segment. This is the trade of the week for the week of September 6th, 2025. As always, we like to start with our 5 minute gap. Again, Friday gap up, close it. Thursday gap up, close it. And we continued with the again closing the gaps, but I wanted to show you our again to the 20 minutes and going back some of the parts that I had mentioned about last Friday. We had this gap which we filled it on Friday and actually on Thursday. So that gap was filled. This gap was filled. So you see how the markets have memories and they do fill the gaps. Also, we had on Friday the non farm payroll. Again, this is our trade. This is our 5 minutes. You can even use 1 minute bracket. And look, we broke above. We almost we went half of the move. That would have been your first target. Then we would be stopped out. But then look at this waterfall. And we broke below the low of the day or the our bracket. And this was almost twice. And we went to a nice support and bounced back. So this would have been a really nice, and I did quite a few trades actually because of that. Also, our gold trade on Thursday, of course, we purchased the options. There was 5 contract. One was filled, and then Friday after the news, the markets opened. You see this nice gap up. Again, we could have made another 70% or so if we didn't, we weren't. We had not put our targets, but discipline, discipline, discipline. This is your strategy. So this is like we bought the gold, the 326 gold at 175, and the first one was hit at 25% or so. Sorry. On Thursday, but the rest, look, I had my 50, 75, and 100, and all of them were hit over 100%, 120%. So that was a nice, again, this is a discipline. It could have been 200%, but it is what it is. So we are pleased with that. ETF of the week, we had the ESG revenue, which they were down last week. Now they're up 33% this week. On the other hand, cannabis, which been all over, they were down 16.2%. We had silver miners up 9.5%, but the amplified, again, this is cannabis related, MJ was down 15.9%. On August 22nd, I talked about the home builders, the rotation. You could see this nice movement above the 21-day exponential moving average. The LRC is positive. So we talked about ETF of the week. It was at $117. And look what happened again. There has been a nice movement. We just broke out again, expected move, and we are at 119. So it has gone up. So there's this rotation, the Home Depots of the world. So, but again, are we doing this based on the rates? Is the market looking at that? Or there's a concern. So make sure if the slow economy, will the people gonna go still buy things? Or if it's interest rates low, they're gonna go have lower mortgages. So that's again $60,000 question. A stock of the week, as always, I like to look at MAC 7. I looked at MACD as our criteria. So the strongest one was Google, then Apple, we see Tesla. They all are above their 20 and 50-day moving average. Amazon, Friday was inside day, and they are above their 20 and 50. Meta, nice move up against 20, and we see the again indecision here. Doji and Mag 7, the ETF, nice movement. Nvidia, well, it has broken below its 50-day moving average this week. So last week we looked 20. Let's watch this whether we can have a support right at 165 or not. And then Microsoft continues the slide after that big earnings. We have closed that gap, and now we have to watch this dead cross 20 and 50 days. So these are a little alarming. So be aware of that. So when we look at Apple, though, as I mentioned, we are still in a wedge. So we'll see if we can break above. But we did 3 days in a row. We were outside expected move. Uh, Amazon did go touch the upper edge and came back down on Friday. This is Broadcom. Big move. It was like 3 standard deviation move. The expectation was way above the expectation, but then we see it was a great move up, but then we closed on the lower side. So that will be a little concern. We want to watch that. There's a gap. The same thing with Google, way outside this expected move. And then on the other hand, Microsoft just closed below its lower edge of expected move. The same thing with Nvidia, just the lower edge of expected move. On the other hand, Tesla hit the upper edge of expected move. As far as the squeezes, I hope you pay attention to these candidates. These are great candidates, and this week we're going to look at the S&P Small Cap 600. There are some again some attractive ones, so please use it as a starting point. Last week we still had some earnings. 38 prices moved up, 31 down, 39 positive results, 18 down, 19 positive guidance, 13 lower than 21 neutral or on hold, basically not giving sometimes guidance. Now, Broadcom, they missed the expectation, the whisper, but what they said, they expect the fourth quarter. This is all about expectations. So they expect the fourth quarter approximate to be 17.4 billion versus 16.95 billion. So that's why the market really liked that. Lululemon, they beat, but again, it's the expectations, right? So they're expecting that the, the revenues will be 10.85, upcoming to 11 billion. But the idea was for that the revenue was supposed to be up to 11.3 billion. So these are all about expectations. Salesforce that beat the expectations, but this is how the stocks behave. You see Avgo big gap up. On the other hand, the Salesforce gap down and then bounced back up above its 20-day. But look at the Lululemon, big gap down below its 20-day moving average. Upcoming, we got still some good ones. Oracle, we got GameStop, we got Adobe, we got Chewy. So there are some AVAV, we got Momo and Chewy. These are Oracles. So for the again volatility, so we have Oracle is expected to beat, Adobe is expected to beat, GameStop is expected to beat, AeroVironment is expected to beat, so is Chewy. Awesome. I hope you'll have a wonderful weekend and a great prosperous week ahead. Bye for now.